Why would a couple with a very young child sell everything they own, leave their family and friends behind, and move halfway across the world and buy a ranch out in the middle of nowhere, Texas? If you want to hear that story, stick around. We're getting after it right now. Thank you for joining us. This channel is all about Texas land and ranch living, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ins and outs. So if that's what you want to hear about, that's the kind of content you want, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you're notified every time we put out a new video. And look, whenever you, your friends, anybody you know are ready to take that leap and buy your ranch here in Texas, give me a call, send me a text message, send me an email. Heck, if you want to, send me a note via Pony Express. Any which way you want to reach out to me, I'm here to help. Let's jump into it. Yop and Esther, young family, 2-year-old son, and they had it. They were sitting there probably much like a lot of you, frustrated with a lack of freedom, wanting to raise their family the way that they wanted to, and they took massive action. And I'm proud of them. These are the kind of clients, these are the kind of people that I like to help. And let's just sit back and hear their story. So let's get after it. So I know this is a little bit awkward for you guys, but I really appreciate y'all's willingness to do this. So how long have y'all been here in Texas?
Just over a year, yeah. And we promised each other that if we didn't like it after a year, we would try something else, and now we are, sure we'll stay here for way longer.
There's no going back.
There's no going back. No.
No going back.
No.
Okay. Well, take me back. It was about a year and a half when we first met.
Yeah.
And where were you at that time?
So at that time we were looking into where we want to go.
We lived in Holland.
We lived in Holland, and the experience of the pandemic, the curfews, all the unscientific things going on, all the backlog against doctors who spoke out, that really felt us very uncomfortable in our homeland, and felt like, well, we can't stay here, we have to go. So yeah.
Now, Esther, you were telling me a story a little while ago, just off camera, about how you felt during that time with the overreach and everything that was going on during the lockdowns.
I felt scared and like I couldn't be myself again, or anymore. I felt like I couldn't completely be human anymore, and that fear is way deeper inside of me than I thought it was, because it just came out while talking to you about this video. So the oppressing of freedom that we encountered what happened in Holland, and I think in many countries, really put its mark on me. And it's good to know that and work with it so I can let it go too. And it's one of the reasons that I am sitting here and not just you.
Yeah. So you guys decided on Texas and decided on a ranch. Now, neither one of you had ever been to the state of Texas before.
Well, I've been here for a week. And
Okay.
I had never been to the U.S. at all.
Yeah. But neither one of you have been ranchers of any kind, right?
Never. No.
Now, Yop, your background is you are a licensed surgeon, right?
Right. Yeah.
And gave up your career, gave up your pathway there for a new home, right?
Yeah, because I felt that when I was willing to try to educate people about good food, preventing people from eating seed oils because they are the most destructive oils on earth. It felt like I was only working on the inside of people's health, and I felt that farmers, and then the right organic farmers, or well, maybe not even organic, but just farmers in general who do a good job, are on the right track and getting the right produce to the people. That's the most difficult thing that I want to pursue right now. And yeah, educate people about good food.
Be in the beginning of someone's health
Health,
journey,
yeah,
and
yeah,
not at the
instead
end
of
stage.
on the end stage where people are almost already done for. So yeah, that's my path now. That's my
Yeah, nobody,
goal.
no
Yeah,
doctor in the world when you come in says, "Well, how healthy do you want to be?"
right.
Right? They
Yeah.
always like, "Well, what's wrong? What's sick? What's
And how long do you want to live? And
Right.
what's your what do you want to do for your own health? So how deep do you want to go into the rabbit hole to educate yourself and start a life without sickness, without health issues, and yeah. Or do you want to only have the quick fix? Like, okay, I just want that pill, or and then I want to go on with the life I had before. Yeah,
Okay, so you decided that you wanted to do something different. You
right.
wanted to be in on the early cycle of the healthcare. How did you guys get started on your research and deciding what you were going to do and how you were going to do it?
Well, we first looked into Portugal and Sweden for.
Yeah.
We investigated those countries, but
And that's the more practical part for me. It started with a feeling like, man, as a human being, I've drifted so far away from what we are. I need to reconnect to the land to really be part of nature, because that's what we are, I think. And I really couldn't feel that in Holland because it was so crowded.
right.
That's what started it for me. So
Yeah.
an internal feeling of wanting to reconnect with.
Yeah, because our neighbors, lots in Holland are a quarter acre, or then you have a big lot, or 1/20th of an acre, and then you
Yeah. So
must be happy there.
yeah.
So even though we had a relatively big home there, and we didn't really got connected to the land and to, well, even our neighbors. Some of our neighbors we really liked, and we had a great connection. But then your other neighbors, even though they are living almost in your face, you don't have a great connection. And then
Well,
also the connection with the land. Yeah, if you
That-
have only like a few yards, then you can't grow anything. And yeah,
well, neighbors are everywhere, nice ones and less nice ones. But
Yeah.
that was my first thing. What started this journey, and then practically we looked at Sweden, but we didn't want to live in big piles of snow for months every year.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to live in the U.S. and you like the warmer weather, so
so we also looked like Portugal for where the climate is really really nice, and then because the same things are going on there almost everywhere.
yeah.
We look at the U.S. for freedom, and then it was either Florida or Texas, because one of our friends he grew up here in Texas, and so for me it was
Well, he told us a lot about Texas, and
Yeah.
it resonated with what we
wanted for like
wanted and who we are, and
freedom,
we didn't want to live near all the gators.
and the no-see-ums.
So yeah, so you chose the feral hogs and
Right.
the coyotes and things like
snakes.
that, and snakes
Scorpions.
over the gators. Yeah.
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 Uh,
Yeah.
So you guys started doing research, and you came across. Y'all started doing. I've got to put in the shameless plug here. So you
Yeah.
guys started doing some YouTube searching about what it's like, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then we came across, or I came across your 101, being a rancher, buying Texas lands, and your 101 gives almost all the information that you need, but it's very, very concise information. So I had to go over it like 10 times, and when I went over it this morning to look and see how much information I really got out of it. It's still like, oh man, that was the information that we needed, but maybe I had to see it another 10 times to really, get your knowledge into my head. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm getting a little teary-eyed back here behind. I'm glad I'm behind the camera on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, and we almost looked up Pony Express to send you a message.
You told me about your video, and it was like, yeah, this guy, you can email him, call him, or send Pony Express. And I was like, what's Pony Express?
What's Pony Express? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
Yeah, call me day and night. So that was really like, okay, this guy knows his stuff. He really wants to work for us.
Yeah.
And and that worked out pretty good, pretty awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Holland. You know you need to make a change. You start doing research, and I mean, from my perspective, I remember you guys. You know, I forget whether you. I think it was an email. Started out via email because the international calling, but then we got on WhatsApp and we did some Zooms and we did back and forth.
Yeah.
But really, golly, we started out looking for a business. Then we started looking out for a vineyard place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we ended up here, and we looked over sort of all sorts of different regions and sections.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk through what you were looking for and why?
Yeah. Well, we wanted to have the nice weather, like Portugal or Italy or Spain. And a vineyard is, of course, connected with that climate. And we realized way better when we got here that, everything east of Houston is really humid.
Yeah.
And you have to, well, in my opinion, you have to be born there to really appreciate it. And for coming from a cold climate, it's not really the right place.
Not for us.
Not for us, no. And being here in the hill country, it's hot. So we really have to change our behavior, because we used to have like 4, 5, 6 months that it was too cold to be outside and only living inside. And now it's like having 3 months that it's too hot to be outside all the time. And so you're living inside more with the air conditioning. So that's complete change of mind. And still sometimes I look outside and think, oh, it must be cold outside. Get my coat. Oh no, it's really hot. Still. It's like,
one of
completely
your
change of mind.
dreams always has been to have a vineyard.
Right, yeah.
So that's why we started looking into vineyards with you.
Yeah.
But then we didn't really find the one that matched everything. And I think, can't remember, but I think Carrie said like water rights are one of the biggest things that you want to have. So that's what we focus on.
Yeah. Start with a farm. Yeah, you have to know there are a lot of things you also have to buy, or equipment you have to buy immediately or later on to get it really working.
Now this right here, so this is, it looks like it's an old engine, just like an old car engine.
It's a brand new Chevy engine.
Brand new Chevy, but it runs off of propane.
Right, it's converted to propane.
And this runs your pump. So this pulls water out of the river.
Right.
And it irrigates all the pecans. It'll fill up that
tank.
12-acre tank. It'll flood, and that is just super, super nice.
Right.
And it'll also run as a backup water supply in case anything were to happen.
Yeah, because there are people here who are living from the river water.
Yeah.
Only use that.
Yeah.
They don't have any other. And then going back to why did we look into a business? That's because of all the visa stuff. We wanted to pursue a business to stay in the US, and then you need your E2 visa, and then you need to start a business and continue that business. So that's why we looked into businesses first. And then we came to the conclusion a farm can be a great business. And that will also work out really good for your E2. So that's
and it did.
And it did, yeah.
So, and for me, the main thing was I can still remember some of the properties that you showed us online because we were still in Holland.
Yeah,
We
of
never
course.
saw this property
No, I know.
before we came here.
I was going to get to that. It's like you
Yeah.
guys, and we won't talk specifics, but you guys put down a sizable amount of your life savings
Yeah.
and bought a place sight unseen. Talk to me about the emotions. How comfortable did you guys feel about that? How was that process for y'all?
Well, the good thing was you talked us through a lot of the things, and also on your YouTube channel, what's involved, and then still we couldn't really imagine because when we came here, we didn't have water like 4 times 4 weeks.
I think I cried every day. Especially about all the scorpions and
feeling
everything.
filthy and
Yeah.
not having, well, in Holland, the water coming out of the tap is like mineral water.
Yeah.
And then here you have to have a right well, and your pump has to be running, and you have to have your electricity to the pump.
And we didn't know anyone, so it was. I felt like we were at the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like on the edge of the world, maybe.
Right. On the final frontier to the west.
Yeah. And we didn't have our stuff, so we lived on two
suitcases,
little chairs and a little table, and
yeah.
So I describe it as you can read all about marriage, you can talk to people who've been married, you can do all of that, but until you've done it yourself and gone through it,
right.
Then all the advice, all the stories, all the everything really start to make sense at that point, right?
Yeah. You have to experience it, and I think it really was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
That we both really felt, at least I did, in my heart, that made me jump into adventure. Because if you only use your logic,
you'll never do
you'd
it.
You'd never buy property this size.
Unseen,
Unseen. I'd
Putting-
never been
putting
in
all
the
your
US.
money in it, yeah.
Putting all your money in it.
Yeah.
It was really, like it was meant to be or something. I could feel that.
Now, Esther, you started to go down a path that I want to revisit, just because I'm familiar with the people here. You felt sort of at first all alone. You didn't know anybody. What was that experience like? Did you feel once you started to put yourself out there within the community? Did you feel welcomed?
Absolutely.
How is that now that you've been here a year? How do you feel? Do you feel like you're all alone?
No. Can I have some alone time, please? No. People here are, like most people, are amazing. They're very friendly, especially if you're open to where you're from and what you think and why you're here. They want to talk to you. They want to help you. They're interested in what you have to say. So that felt very, very warming. What we did, we went to the First Baptist Church in a local town near us, and we got invited straight away that night to one of the parties they had and one of the get-togethers, and that's where we met our friends that we still have as our friends right now.
Yeah.
So if you open up to people here and tell them why you're here, that's my experience, they open up to you too.
Yeah.
But they do want to know, like, what's with the weird accent, and are you from California or New York, or like, why are you here?
Yeah.
But then if you tell them that
we chose freedom.
you want to be here because you like Texas and you want Texas to be Texas.
Yeah. And you want the world to be more like Texas.
They're very open.
Yeah.
And nice people.
Yeah.
Just in your own words, describe your place here for us.
Well, it's an old game ranch with high fencing, and a small pecan orchard on it. And we want to expand the pecan orchard.
Now, small is relative.
Small is relative in
Small
Texas.
is relative.
Yeah.
So it's small for a commercial pecan orchard,
Right.
but
Big
it's big for just about anybody.
That 1,000 trees are a lot of trees.
Yeah, 1,000 trees.
Yeah, and we also found out during that process that pecan trees, well, people tell you that you plant them for your grandchildren.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's more like an investment for the future.
The story I like to tell is the best time to plant a tree was 25 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah, for sure.
The next best time to plant a tree is today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's an old game range, and part of it is really rough and lots of erosion going on. And we already knew a lot about erosion, and we want to heal the world, or heal ourselves with the process of healing the soil. And we looked into that with especially one of the people we know in Holland, Marijn Poels. He pointed us out to Alan Savory. And Alan Savory is a guy who spent almost his whole life, in Africa, but also did some work in the US. And
On how to make
on how to regenerate
dry, arid soil alive again.
Yeah.
So this process, you guys were calling it regenerative farming, right? Regenerative, and I guess this is not quite a farm; it's more of a ranch. But
it's still more like a ranch. But what we want to pursue is, with our animals, have a high density herd on the ranch, and that will create a lot of soil. And when you have good soil, then you won't have erosion anymore.
Yeah, and have that herd rotate. That's the biggest factor.
So what you want to emulate is how this country was like 400 years ago. Then there were like 1 million bisons going by every day for a few days. They would trample everything. They would graze until the latest green stuff that was still on the soil, and then the rains would come back and it would regenerate, and there would be no erosion, and it would be green and lush, no cactus, no mesquite, because they would eat everything, and they wouldn't spoil the soil. And that's what we want to try to do over here again, to regenerate the soil, heal the soil, and in that process, heal ourselves and other people. Yeah, because then it will create good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have 1,000 plus, pecan trees out here.
Yeah.
How many mesquites do you think you've cut? Cut down and dealt with since y'all have been here?
I remember your video with your dad. I think.
Yeah.
Mesquite are the word or something like
that.
Yeah.
And he's talking about it's a full-time job, right?
Right.
He's like, if you let one of them live, they'll take over, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what is this fancy piece of equipment?
So you can pull out a whole mesquite tree, a grown-up mesquite tree with this tree puller, and you can also with the grapple you can immediately take it to a pile.
Wow.
And then
that has got to save you a bunch of time, right?
It should save us some time. Yeah. But then
now
also it's expensive equipment.
Yeah.
But if you have it, you can really put it to use. Yeah.
Now, would it take down a mesquite like this size here?
Yeah.
And that's the whole issue, right? You got to get the roots. You got to get it all the way up at the roots.
Pull it up and then because the thing with the mesquite, of course, is that the cows eat the mesquite beans and then they spread it out everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you have one mesquite, it will. And you have cows, then it will be.
But on the other hand, weeds are plants too.
Yeah.
So for some mesquites, I'm thankful because they give us shade and a nice view.
Yeah.
But in general, you don't want them everywhere. So that's an interesting thing here.
Yeah.
But we're sure that with what we pursued after the 1,000 pecan trees, we now have 1,000 chickens. Who are gonna lay a lot of eggs for us.
So go ahead.
So these are laying hens, and in a few months they will start laying. and then they will start laying their eggs in the nest boxes who are inside the chicken tractor. So the eggs will come out clean, and you see there are different breeds of chickens. So they will have we have different colors, but they all are able to roam around and get all the
Free
grasshoppers
range
and-
eggs,
Yeah,
free range
free-range
chickens.
eggs,
Everybody
absolutely.
want to know where your free range eggs come from?
Yeah,
Right here. Now, about how many chickens do you guys have right here? How many
1,000
litters?
here.
You have how many?
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah,
And you guys use this to regenerate, right? So
exactly.
they're right
Yeah.
now they're eradicating pests
Right.
because they're eating up all the grasshoppers.
Yeah,
They're getting rid of all the other pests that are in the area, and then they're laying down a whole bunch of manure to help fertilize. And you said they were also like almost like scratching up the earth,
Right.
so it kind of makes it more receptive to the fertilizing of their poop
Yeah,
and
and the
it
rain.
and the
Yeah.
rain.
yeah. And for the people around us, so that's the
Well, and
next venture.
what we try to do, and this is, if you want to know more about it, go to Joel Salatin, his YouTube things. But with the chickens, rotate them on the field between the pecans.
Yeah.
So they scratch the soil, make it more loose. They put them, fertilize it with their manure, and then we move them again so the soil can rest and heal. And then hopefully in a year from now, everything will be way greener and hold the water in if it rains way better.
Right. Yeah.
So it stays.
To good soil.
Yeah. Now these are some of the new pecan trees you planted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And how many new pecan trees did you plant?
1,000 pecan trees.
1,000 new pecan trees.
Yeah.
And the pecan trees like this, right? They love having the chickens around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is awesome. Now, are you after you start selling the eggs, then you can take that revenue and expand operations into
Right.
more of these, right?
Yeah. We want to have more chicken tractors, but then the smaller style one with 75 boilers for chicken meat, and those will be fast-growing chickens.
Yeah.
It's the same breed as the commercial plants use for their chickens, but then these will be free roaming and
Right.
healthy.
Looks like they're getting their exercise for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Chickens are also really good at eating grasshoppers, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And oh yeah, you remember when you came here the first time?
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
grasshoppers
It was
everywhere.
Moses
Grasshoppers.
like
Yeah.
through the Red Sea, but then a sea of grasshoppers.
Okay, so let's take a step back. Why do I do this, right? First and foremost, I'm a land and ranch specialist. I'm a real estate agent. This is what I do to make a living. But I can do lots of things to make a living. I do this because of people like Jaap and Esther and people like you. I am out there trying to provide the information necessary for them and for you to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be when it comes to buying a ranch here in Texas. And so for me, this interview, this conversation, these guys are more than just clients to me. I feel like I'm a part of their family, and I have enjoyed so much being able to see them grow and develop and see what they've been able to accomplish in this short time frame. This has been an amazing story. I'm sorry that I had to cut it up into two videos, but it was an hour long by the time I got into it. So I'm still working on the next video. Stick around. It's going to be released here soon. And if you haven't done it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you're notified whenever I put out this next video. And look, whenever you, your friends, anybody you know are ready to buy your ranch, whenever you're ready to have the same kind of experience that Jaap and Esther have, give me a call, send me a text message, shoot me an email. Heck, if you want to, send me a note via Pony Express. I don't care. Just want to help you guys find your Texas ranch. Thanks. See you soon.